You need to eat better. Yeah, well, I can't afford all that healthy food. It's not expensive if you cook from scratch. Yeah, well, I don't have time for that. Nobody has time for that. There are ways to make healthy food that actually save you time. Yeah, well, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, well, let's fix that. Let's put all those yeah wells to bed. Hence, the motivation for this playlist. Welcome to the first installment of Fast, Easy, Healthy, Cheap, where we're going to learn how to eat healthy without spending a lot of time or money and without needing to be super skilled in the kitchen. You're going to be surprised at how much money and time you can save while improving your health, feeling better, and reducing the likelihood of more doctor visits. It's probably safe to say that eating healthy food, in fact, staying healthy in general, will reduce the likelihood of all-cause mortality. There was one NIH study that estimated that eating well reduces all-cause mortality by 56%. Now, of course, that's just one study, and there's more than a little wiggle room between different people's definitions of eating healthy. But still, according to this study, if you eat well, you are 56% less likely to die of any health issues total. I think it's probably a low ball. I mean, it depends on where. It depends. We'll talk about that in other videos. But for now, just suffice to paraphrase the inimitable Joel Salatin, if you think healthy food is expensive, try cancer. Actually, don't. Don't try it. Please don't try it. It's just a figure of speech. For God's sake, put down the cancer and slowly walk away. The point is that it's pay now or pay later. You can either take care of your body now or you can pay the doctor later. So the point of Fast, Easy, Healthy, Cheap is just that. I want you to see ways that you can eat healthy that are easy, cheap, and quick. It can be done, and I'm going to prove it. Am I going to show you the very most delicious recipes that take hours of time and years of skill? No, nope, not. A true food snob would look at some of the techniques I'm going to show you and be like, I could do that so much better. And yes, so could I, but that takes more time and costs more money. I mean, sure, sometimes it's really fun to spend a lot of time in the kitchen, spend the whole day making something really special that
just makes you happy to the core when you eat it.
Sure. I love doing that, but most of the time, most of us, we're just usually trying to feed ourselves, not impress the guest. We usually just want to eat. All right, now that you're on board because you'd rather eat delicious food than spend all of your money on doctor visits, great. Let's get to it. But before you start cooking all that delicious healthy food, you need some things. You need your kitchen, and you need a few basic tools, and that's what we're going to cover today, which is actually going to be so fun. I mean, what's more fun than kitchen gadgets? I mean, sure, call me a nerd, but I just love kitchen gadgets. I really do. Now, the first thing I want to convey to you is that those discount stores are the place to go for this stuff. There are a few of them, and I don't know if I can mention them by name, but like TJ something, Marsh something, Ross something. I just call them TJ Rothschilds. And they are awesome for finding good kitchen tools at great prices. Now you have to be patient and persistent, but you can find everything you need for like incredible prices, sometimes like way below 50%. I picked up this all-clad sauté pan. It's awesome, stainless steel, copper interior, 3-ply. I mean, this would be normally a really expensive pan, like close to $75, $100, maybe more. And I picked it up for like $25, $30. Same with this roasting pan. I mean, normally this would be well over $100, and I picked it up for like $40, I think. You don't need to have this. I'm just showing you the kind of deals you can get at those discount stores. Amazing. If you're just getting set up, I would recommend just kind of haunting those stores. Check them out like every week because the inventory changes a lot. So you just have to wait until they get the things you need. But that patience and persistence will really pay off. First thing on my list is a good knife. You need a sharp knife. You don't need to invest in high-end cutlery for now, but you might want to later because it really is a lifetime investment. We will be dedicating entire videos to knives, but for now, if you're just getting started, you can get one of these combo sets. They won't last a lifetime, but they will get you up and running. And if you want to, later on down the road, when these wear out, which they will, then you can upgrade. Now, you may have heard this a million times already, but a dull knife is dangerous. And here's why. When you use a dull knife, you have to put a ton of pressure on it to get it to cut. And then when it finally does go through, it's totally out of control. And that's when bad things can happen. So that's why people love to say that a sharp knife is safer. Though I would add a little caveat. If you're a little clumsy, which I definitely am, a sharp knife can carry its own risks because all you have to do is barely graze yourself and you can make a pretty deep cut into your U. I know because I'm embarrassed to admit I've done it. Plenty of times. So just my own personal preference, I like a good sharp knife, but I have to be extra careful with those super scary razor sharp knives because I sometimes miss, and I have actually honestly needed stitches. My fault. Yeah, my fault. But still, for me, I like to keep my knives good and sharp, but I don't get them to scary razor sharp. And this little B-roll shot brings us to the next item on the list, a cutting board. Do not cut anything without a cutting board. Not on a plate, not on a countertop. Even marble and granite can be scratched. Their coating is far from indestructible, and they will dull your knife. It's not our food that dulls our knives, it's the cutting surface. I personally don't use bamboo cutting boards much because they're not dishwasher safe, but some people swear by them. So if you don't mind hand washing, these are beautiful. They're good for your knife, and they do work really well. Plastic works really great, but after a while they can get these little grooves in them. If you don't wash them really deeply, that might be a good habitat for germs and other pathogenic microbes. Now, that's also true of wooden or bamboo boards that get split. So danger, danger. One thing I do love about these plastic ones is that you can roll them up into like a little funnel, so it's really easy to move your food from point A to point B. Plus, as you can see, you can cut them down to a size that works for you. So they're kind of a bargain. As for me, my favorite are these composite cutting boards. They're gentle on your knife, they're dishwasher safe, they work really well. It's not a bad idea to put a dish towel under whatever cutting board you use to keep it from slipping around. A cutting board that slips out from under you can be extremely dangerous, so make sure you address that. If your cutting board splits or has deep grooves in it, you should probably get rid of it. Like I said, grooves and splits, great habitat for pathogens. Speaking of safety, get yourself a fire extinguisher and put some thought into what you would do if you had a kitchen fire. 44% of home fires start in the kitchen at a rate of 158,000 per year, resulting in more than 400 deaths. It's real. Do not pour water on a kitchen fire because the water can actually make it worse. Now, sometimes the fastest, safest thing to do is just put a lid on it. Works great. Even a towel in the right situation can work. But really, there's nothing like a fire extinguisher. In the unlikely event that things get really out of control, you'll need a fire extinguisher and you're going to have to know how to use it. Let's hope we never get to that point. I've never had a kitchen fire, but I always have a fire extinguisher nearby. And every now and then look at it and just think, okay, how would I use this? I'd grab it, pull the pin, get about 6 feet back, and aim the fire extinguisher at the base of the fire and make a back and forth sweeping motion. Very important. Another important safety device is, you ready for this? A thermometer. The humble thermometer can save your life. This is especially true if you eat food from big operations. The law does not consider salmonella in chicken to be an adulterant. Did you get that? It's estimated that somewhere between 1 in 4 and 1 in 25 packages of chicken sold at the grocery store are tainted with salmonella, and it's perfectly legal. The attitude of the producers and the government is that you're smart enough to cook your chicken to a safe temperature. In other words, they can sell you salmonella, and it is literally your problem. And the only way to do that is with a thermometer. Poultry needs to be cooked to 165 degrees to be safe. Do you know what that looks like? It looks like a thermometer that reads at 165. And overcooking something can make it taste less good. So getting it just right is, well, just right. Now, you can't cook without cookware. If you can only get one thing to start, I recommend an Instant Pot. It does pretty much everything okay. It's not my first choice for sautéing or steaming, but it can actually do those things. Plus, it can pressure cook, which is amazing. I actually prefer other tools for most of the things that it can do, but this is like the best choice. If you're stranded on a desert island and only have one thing to cook with, get an Instant Pot. Now, for straight up pressure cooking, I like a straight up pressure cooker. They're not as versatile as the Instant Pot, but they can get to a higher pressure and they can get to a higher temperature. So they work a little bit better, but they just do one thing and they're usually not dishwasher safe, and I'm very lazy. Next to an Instant Pot, the most versatile cookware by far is a good wok. You can saute in it, you can deep fry in it, you can, of course, stir fry in it. I even make soup in them all the time because they're really good at reducing liquids. I like a good old well-seasoned carbon steel wok. I don't recommend non-stick woks because one of the great ways to use a wok is at really high temperature, which can damage a non-stick surface, and they can even outgas dangerous chemicals at you. I also sometimes like using metal utensils, and that can damage a non-stick surface. If you have a gas stove, then you can and should use a round-bottomed wok. If you have a glass top stove or other kind of electric stove, you should get a wok with a flat bottom like this because you need to maximize the contact surface between the wok and the stove. So flat bottom if you have an electric stove, round bottom if you have a gas stove. Now technically you could get by with just a wok, but I'll tell you one thing it's not great at is cooking noodles. Plus, if it's noodles you want, it's nice to have one pot to boil your noodles while you cook other things in your wok. So I think it's nice to have a decent pot. Saucepan. Nothing fancy, just unless you yourself are fancy, and if that be the case, then you'll get no argument from me. I have nothing against the fancy among us, but just a straight up saucepan is fine. I like having a couple of different sizes because I cook for myself a lot, so a small saucepan is great for like one serving of noodles. Now you need some kind of pot holder. These silicone ones are really convenient, but really super hot things will overwhelm them after a few seconds. These gloves are amazing, but they're not cheap. And you can always use a kitchen towel if you want. And the ones with the Eat Is Love logo are really and truly superior, but mine's in the wash right now, so I can't pull it out for you. But speaking of Eat Is Love graphics, a coaster can be used as a trivet, and this coaster is going to be a free gift. The first person to write fast, easy, healthy, cheap in the comments will get this very coaster, which can double as a trivet. You can put things on it that need to be triveted, and it works especially well because it has my logo. That makes it extra special, just like you. Because I am not above bribing you to watch my channel. Oh, and speaking of, if you'd like to increase your chances of winning in the future, hit the notifications button so that you'll be among the first to know when my next video comes out, thus increasing your chances of winning the next thing. And as long as you're at it, you should subscribe just because. And you should comment in the comments because that's where you're supposed to comment. And also because that's how you remain part of the food conversation. It also tells the algorithm that I deserve a pat on the head, which I do just because. Now, if you're really serious about saving time and saving money, you need some storage containers. I love these snap top containers. These go from the freezer straight to the microwave, and you can usually find these for super cheap at the TJ Marshall's discount stores. These twist and lock jobbies are also really great. I do worry about the plastic leaching to my food when I put them in the microwave. Another thing that will save you a lot of money in the long run is these produce keepers. They have a little slotted bottom that keeps the food elevated. You put a little bit of water in the bottom, and that keeps them at a perfect humidity. These will keep your produce for an impressively long time. And again, you can find these at the discount stores for really cheap. So these pay for themselves very quickly. Another thing on the nice to have list is a good Dutch oven. I love mine. They can be a little expensive, although I got this one for like $25 by cheating at a Christmas party. But anyway, I use this for everything from roast beef to chili to cornbread, dirty rice, and baking sourdough. I love it so much that I bought it this little sibling that's perfect for baking small loaves of sourdough, and I'll show you that recipe in a later video. I also love my toaster oven. It gets used like 10 times as much as the big oven. Some of them can also air fry, air roast. I wouldn't even be surprised if it can pick stalks and shine your shoes. I also really love these little sizzle plates. I can throw a piece of salmon on there, cook it really quick, and then eat it right on the plate I cooked it on. I even use the bottom piece sometimes as like a quick and dirty cutting board. Well, not actually dirty, because that would be gross and dangerous, but you know what I mean. You know what other kind of kitchen toy is nice to have? All of them. It's like an addiction, but even still, I'm sure that all of my kitchen gadgets have paid for themselves multiple times over by keeping me away from, expensive alternatives. And that doesn't even count what I save in healthcare costs by eating healthy food. But just in terms of money alone, as we move forward in this series, I'm going to try to measure things in terms of combo meals. Like, this item will pay for itself in 2 combo meals, meaning that the money you save by cooking your own food is worth whatever you would have spent at the fast food joint. I mean, it's not an exact science, but one example is buying a whole chicken and using the carcass to make stock. I estimate that I save about $25 each time I do that. So roughly 3 combo meals, 2.5. And that's generous. And so have you been generous by watching my video all the way through. You are so awesome for being here with me. It's you who makes it happen, Captain. So I hope to see you next time. Ciao.